Episode 116 of the NBC sitcom Seinfeld was the Soup Nazi, probably one of the most popular episodes of Seinfeld. No more soup today. You have seen the memes. And just want to take you to the actual location of that episode, the actual soup kitchen where it stands today, which is on 55th Street in Manhattan. I want to take you over to that place. So in this episode, Jerry, George, and Elaine visit a soup stand operated by Mr. Kassem, who's portrayed by Larry Thomas, who has strict rules. Jerry explains that the owner, Mr. Kassem, is known as the Soup Nazi due to his insistence on a strict manner of behavior while placing an order. But his soups are so delicious that the stand is constantly busy. And en route, Elaine notices a man on the sidewalk with an armoire for sale. She forgoes the soup in favor of buying it. However, her building superintendent informs her that the furniture move-ins are not allowed on Sundays, so she asks Kramer to watch the armoire and promises to get soup from Kassem for him in return. While she's away, Bob and Cedric bully Kramer and steal the armoire. Boo-hoo. At the soup stand, George complains about not receiving bread with his meal. When he presses the issue after being expected to pay for it, George's order is taken away and his money refunded. On a subsequent visit, George buys soup, but Elaine, having scoffed at Jerry's advice on how to order, draws Kassem's anger. That's the word I'm looking for. And she is banned from a year from the soup stand. Jerry and his girlfriend Celia visit the soup stand. Mr. Kassem, he is repulsed by their kissing, so Jerry disavows Sheila to stay on Mr. Kassem's good side, because he has great soup. Jerry talks about the breakup with George, who expresses disgust at Jerry and Sheila's baby talk and public displays of affection. Undeterred, Jerry makes up with Sheila at Monk's. George tries to teach him a lesson by behaving similarly with Susan, but this only leads to escalating affection between the couples as Jerry and George struggle to out-discuss each other. Yada, 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 yada. But that is the basis, the kind of the genesis of that episode, which was mostly focused around the soup. What great soup this is. Now, the Soup Nazi in that episode, he was portrayed by Larry Thomas. And in Larry Thomas at the time, he didn't realize that the character was actually based on a real person. I think the story goes, that the cast of Seinfeld found out about this great spot in the city about their soups. And apparently, and they based the episode around it. And let me tell you, as we're walking to here, you're going to see that this place, even though there you are, right in the cold, place is still popping. People are still ordering. Now, it did not, it's become a chain from what I understand, places around here. But this is the actual inspiration for that episode. This is what inspired that episode, and it in that episode it was portrayed kind of exactly how it looks here in Manhattan. So this was actually, according to the writer, how this all happened. And several members of that production team went to the soup kitchen for lunch weeks after the story goes, after the Soup Nazi aired. Upon recognizing Seinfeld, the person who the character was based on, it was actually Mr. Ali, Al, and he was Persian, right? So when he came in there, when they came in after the episode aired, if you're following me here, who the character was actually portrayed upon, he didn't like it. He went into apparently a profanity rant about how the show had ruined his business, and he demanded an apology. And Seinfeld apparently gave what was described as the most sarcastic apology that anyone's ever seen. But look, the way I see it, lines out the door still. This is one of the spots to go to, especially if you're a big Seinfeld fan, is visiting the actual soup kitchen. It's a small stand. It's just standing room only, as you can see. So I guess now, if you're giving credit where credit is due, there was a reference that the owner of this soup kitchen, there was he was known apparently for his soups for many of years, and that he was actually not referenced first in Seinfeld, but because that episode aired in '95, but it was actually referenced in '93 in the movie Sleepless in Seattle. And in the film, an unseen journalist, he pitches a story for the Lifetime section of the Baltimore Sun, right, to the editor. And it goes, "This man sells the greatest soup you have ever eaten, and he is the meanest man in America." I feel very strongly about this, Becky. It's not just about the soup. So, his whole thing, apparently, if you believe it, was based on the way you order the soup, the behavior of how you order the soup. If he didn't like it, no soup for you. No soup for you. So if you want to find this episode again on the internet, as I bid you adieu here for this episode, I am Thomas, and I do thank you. If you're ever in the city, it's the Soup Kitchen. It's on 55th Street, if I'm not mistaken. And this was the first episode. This aired in November of 1995, November 2nd, 1995. It is Season 7, Episode 6. Season 7, Episode 6. And it's the 116th episode. So I hope all is well, live from the Soup Kitchen